Camping. For most people, it's a chance to escape the noise of the city, to sit under the stars, and fall asleep to the sound of nature. But for some, a night in the woods becomes a nightmare they can never forget. Tonight, I'll be sharing 6 true scary camping stories. Each one comes from people who swear these events really happened. So grab your blanket, turn off the lights, and remember, the forest is never as empty as it seems. Ghost Story 1. The Whispering Woods. It was a summer evening when a group of friends decided to camp deep in the forest. They set up their tents, made a fire, and stayed up late telling jokes. Everything felt normal, until the fire burned low. Around midnight, they started hearing something strange. Faint, almost too faint to notice. Whispers. At first, they thought it was the wind. But then one of the girls froze and whispered, "Did you hear that? It just said my name." They laughed nervously, assuming it was a prank. But when they looked around, every single friend was inside the tent. The whispers continued, circling the campsite, calling different names in voices that sounded almost familiar. By sunrise, the voices stopped. But when they stepped outside, their laughter died instantly. Surrounding the tent were dozens of footprints. But these weren't human. Long, narrow, and deep, as if something heavy had walked through the night. None of them ever went camping again. Ghost Story 2. The Vanishing Camper. Near a quiet lake, a solo hiker set up camp for the night. Other campers nearby waved goodnight to him as he zipped his tent shut. But when the sun rose, the scene was wrong. His tent was torn, his gear scattered, and there was no sign of him. At first, people thought he left early. But his boots, his only pair, were found half submerged in the water. Police searched the lake and surrounding forest for days, but they found nothing. No body. No trail. No explanation. Even now, locals say that if you camp by that lake, you can sometimes hear footsteps splashing in the water, long after midnight. Ghost Story 3. Footsteps around the tent. A young couple decided to spend a weekend in the mountains. The night was calm, the stars bright. But just after midnight, they were woken by a sound. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, circling their tent. The couple held their breath, clutching each other in silence. The footsteps stopped directly outside the tent. For a long moment, there was nothing, until something pressed hard against the thin fabric, as if a hand or claw was dragging slowly across. They didn't dare move until the sun came up. When they finally looked outside, their blood ran cold. The tent was shredded with deep, jagged claw marks. Whatever had visited them wasn't human, and it had circled them all night. Ghost Story 4. The Campfire Stranger. 2 friends were lost after hiking too late. Just when panic set in, they saw the glow of a campfire in the distance. Relieved, they hurried over. A man sat by the flames, completely still. His face was shadowed, his body unmoving. "Hey," one of them called, "do you know the way back to the trail?" The man didn't respond. He didn't even blink. He just stared. Uneasy, the friends backed away, deciding to keep walking through the dark rather than stay near him. The next day, they returned with a park ranger. But there was no fire. No ashes. No footprints. Only boot prints, leading deeper into the forest, where no trails existed. Ghost Story 5. The Screaming Night. A family with 2 kids went camping in a quiet forest. The night was peaceful until around 2 a.m., when a piercing scream ripped through the trees. It was so loud, so human, that the children began crying. The father grabbed a flashlight and stepped outside, but the moment he moved toward the sound, it stopped. Minutes later, the screams began again, this time from the opposite direction. He couldn't explain how fast it shifted. Terrified, he rushed back, and the family packed their things in the dark. Later, they discovered the forest was known for missing hikers. Locals warned never to stay there overnight. To this day, the father swears, the screams weren't just human. They sounded like something trying to be human. Ghost Story 6. The Creature by the River. A group of college friends camped near a riverbank, enjoying the summer air. Early at dawn, one of them woke up, feeling thirsty. He unzipped the tent quietly so he wouldn't wake the others. That's when he froze. By the river, crouching low, was a dark figure. Its movements weren't normal. It seemed to be drinking, lapping at the water like an animal. The figure slowly turned its head. Two glowing eyes reflected in the dim light. Then, in a blur, it bolted into the forest faster than anything human. The friend never told the others until years later. But he swore, what he saw wasn't an animal, and it wasn't human either. These were 6 true scary camping stories. But remember, the woods are vast, and darkness hides things we'll never fully understand. Which of these stories scared you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've had a terrifying encounter of your own, share it, I might read it in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe, because the forest holds many more secrets, and this is just the beginning.